Hello everybody, it's Sibernethy, and today I have a special guest with me. His name is Tim Lang, and he was one of the developers who worked on a game called Might and Magic 6, which is one of my all-time favorite games. Say hi for the camera.
Hello there.
Yeah. Okay, so we have got a list of questions, quite an extensive list, including 10 from the community. And these are all related to Might and Magic 6 specifically. The whole idea of it was to delve into its past, mostly, and get some answers from a guy who was there when the game was being developed. It's kind of like a blast to the past, because I was always a huge fan of digging into a game's history and discovering the hidden relics it contained. Are you ready?
Yep, let's get it. Let's do it.
Okay, first question on the list is, in the frozen highlands, the party comes face to face with a tribe of swordswomen called the Magyars. The word Magyar also means Hungarian in Hungarian. Is that a coincidence?
I think it is. I don't remember anybody ever talking about why we named them we said Magyars.
Magyar, something like that.
That was how we pronounced it, but who cares? Yeah, I think that was a total coincidence. Somebody might know that was not one of the names I came up with.
Could also be that one of the developers was Hungarian or had Hungarian heritage, and he kind of slipped the name in.
It's possible. I myself squeezed in some of my own Nordic heritage.
Oh yes.
On Might Magic 9.
Yeah. Arslegard.
Yeah, I got a lot of trouble for that.
I saw that on another interview you did.
Yeah, I've told that story a couple times.
All right. Number 2. In the Freehaven sewers, there is a giant open room that spawns toxic clouds everywhere. In the middle are 2 pillars that somehow contain a rat inside each one. In gameplay terms, this is quite bizarre, but apparently there's a reason why that's there, and it has something to do with ambient design. Tell us more.
Freehaven sewers. Jeez, I don't even remember where Freehaven is anymore. The sewer. I'm pretty sure the sewers were one of my levels too. 2 pillars with a rat.
I found you could kill them, by the way, with Ring of Fire.
Right. Okay. So you go into the room and there was a toxic cloud everywhere, so you would take damage. But there's 2 pillars that have. I don't remember. It was.
Just a warning, everybody, Tim doesn't know the answer to some of these questions.
You're going to hear a lot of that, I think.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
When did we release this? 20 years ago?
It's got to be. Yeah, it's actually the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, so there's a lot. That was a while ago.
Okay.
So let me make up an answer for this.
All right.
Most likely what we were planning there was that you don't want an environment of just completely static levels. I mean, that's stuff that you saw out of like Bard's Tale 1, which was 10 years prior to this game. And so we had been in the path of making things seem more alive. We expanded it with obviously moving characters and stuff like that. So that's probably where that came from. Was let's make things a little more interesting.
Kind of like where Thief was heading at the time.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually a big influence of mine at the time. Was the way people were on patrol and Thief, and they had conversations and stuff like that. That was I was definitely really influenced by that.
I wonder if the sound design of people like Rob King was also influenced by the sound design of Thief.
That's definitely possible.
Does it influence mine?
He always used to say when we made comments about stealing stuff from other games, he always said, "Well, it's an incestuous industry, and no idea is really original anymore because well, we stole from them, they stole from somebody else, and they stole something from us, and so on and so on.
Get a load of today's market.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so next question. Excuse me. I got a tail end of a cold, so I'm just bear with me.
Yeah, I had one. I think when we first planned to do this, I was sick.
Yeah, that was. By the way, getting this interview running has been exceptionally frustrating.
It has.
Oh man, especially when you got people waiting for it. It's like, when is it coming? When is it coming? It's like,
Yeah.
but we're here now.
Yeah. Well, now we're doing it.
Yeah.
So no more waiting.
This one might interest you. What's the deal with the term Super Goober? I've seen it pop out throughout the Might and Magic series. What is its origin, and why was it put into the game?
Okay, so Super Goober, I don't think it was original from Might and Magic 6. I think it may actually have been in the Zine trilogy, although I don't know for sure. So Super Goober was us making fun of obsessive completionists. So there's always those characters or the players in the game. I got to find every quest. I got to do this. I got to blah blah blah. And I'm one of those guys when it comes to Fallout. And so we said, well, let's reward them for finding the most obscure little bit of trivia or chest in a dungeon way out of the way that you don't need for the game.
Where all the control cubes are. Yeah,
so we said, okay, well, if you do that, you get the Super Goober because you're a Super Goober without a life. That's pretty much the story of that one, and we kept that going in 7, and I know we did it in 9. I didn't really work on 8, so I don't know for sure if they did, but I'm sure they did.
You know what I used to think Super Goober stemmed from? I used to think that it was it was like an inside joke with the developers of like someone who was responsible for feature creep. Like he wanted to implement everything. Oh, so we got a Super Goober on board.
Well, I could see that, yeah, but in this case, no.
No.
We were very, very strict on keeping a lid on feature creep at New World. Some of the other companies, not so much. But New World, we didn't just throw something in because we could.
That's good. You don't want the feature creeper
because an
coming
executive
out.
Told us to.
You don't want the feature creeper coming out and making a mess.
Yeah, I think we might have made a monster called the feature creep. If not, we should have.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down for the future. There's going to be a feature creep.
Feature creeper coming soon to Minecraft.
Oh, you know who did that? I think that was in Arcanum. They had a feature creep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in one of their little somewhere there was a graveyard that had a bunch of little developer inside jokes. I don't remember any of them, but I remember that they had it, and I remember thinking, oh, that's great.
Kind of like the cemetery in Sacred Gold, where they had all the joke tombstones.
Yeah, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. Joke tombstones. There's a couple like standards in every RPG. The first is everyone has a sewer. There's always joke tombstones. For Might and Magic, there was always kind of a sarcastic undertone to everything. And if you met any of the developers, you'd understand why. We were all just a giant bunch of smartasses.
The best kind.
Yeah.
Better than a dumbass, am I right?
I've been saying that for many years.
Okay, are you ready for the next question?
Yep.
Number 4. In Freehaven, there's an unoccupied building that rumors say was originally planned to be a poor man's version of the Buccaneers Guild. Why was it left empty in the final release?
Oh, man. Okay, I gotta remember where Freehaven was. Hang on, let me
I usually traveled to it from Bootleg Bay.
Freehaven. And what was the Buccaneers Guild? I don't remember that one.
It's a place where you learn utility skills, such as merchant, dagger...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're not a very good thief, are you?
Okay, Freehaven. I remember. This is where the Temple of the Moon. So there's a simple answer, and it comes with pretty much every game development. There was either no time, which most likely no time to implement another version of the guild, or we had decided that we wanted to put it someplace else for game balance purposes.
Funny you should mention no time, because the voice dialogue was there, and the background scenery and animation was there.
And then we just locked the door. So that I'm gonna blame the engineers.
Chip Hawkins.
Well, he's always been my punching bag. But this time I'll blame the engineers for not having enough time to put.
Gotta have someone to blame, right?
Code to support that.
All right. Yeah, because I always found that funny. It's like, what's behind this door? And it's nothing. But yeah,
Yep.
like for those of you who don't know, the guild we're talking about, it opens up. It looks like there's a pier or a dock with a bunch of giant crates. In it is this young lad in a little jacket, and he says, "When did you get out?" You can find it in the game files. It's still there. Okay, next question, number 5. See, we're already 10th of the way there.
Wow, we're rocking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the very end of the game, the moment you slay the Demon Queen, a voice pops out of nowhere and says, "Bring it home. That's right. Oh yes, look at that. That was my work. Good job by me. He's gone. I'm here." Care to explain what that was about?
I do remember. Okay, so Might and Magic always hired professional voice actors, and a lot of them actually have gone on to do some pretty big voice acting sort of things. I know one of them was in Star Wars, and a lot of them have done like fairly prominent stuff. But they all are pretty good friends with Rob, and in the booth, in the recording booth, it's always kind of a bit of a loose environment, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the booth is claustrophobic. It's like half the size of a closet with a window and a microphone.
So basically, the size of an Iron Maiden.
A little bit bigger than an Iron Maiden.
Yeah, that's kind of an extreme, right?
And it gets hot in there, and so to put people at ease, you kind of it's a very chill atmosphere, and what that encourages a lot of times is
joke dialogues,
people like vamping or improvising.
Yes.
And so there ends up being a fair amount of outtakes in the dialogue that mysteriously, in this case, ended up on a CD. And I know it showed up on my desk for a while, and it was filled with all sorts of funny little comments, like some of the character voices that went with the portraits did Austin Powers quotes and
oh wow,
stuff like that. And,
I remember one that had a voice line that was actually a reference to Zelda, like where Link said, "Excuse me."
Yeah, and it was exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that one was it was the guy who played the portrait with the goatee. I think that was his name.
Yeah, the guy with the red hair.
Yeah, and we thought it was so funny and very heroic. We just threw it in at the end after the player killed the Demon Queen.
You know what? That adds major points, like, to any developer when they think to include the outtake files on a game.
Yeah, and
because otherwise the files would be lost forever.
There's some I think there's some outtakes in the credits too, and I don't remember if it was Magic 6 or 7's credits, but I remember hearing the outtakes in the credits. That might not have made the final version.
Okay. All right. Pardon me 1 second. I will edit some of this out. Okay, number 6. Let's just see where I am. In New Sorpical, there's an Easter egg located at the buoy just north of the South Guild. If you click on it, a volcano across the water erupts and spews fireballs and rocks. Why was that put in?
Oh, I forgot about that. The volcanoes and the rocks.
Yeah. Sometimes it would go, uh-uh.
Yeah, so that was definitely an Easter egg, and I believe Ken Spencer made it. And it was just it came into place because that was us just playing around with the event system.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to figure out what we could do, what we couldn't do, push the boundaries, and so on and so on. And so he was dicking around,
mm-hmm.
and he just put it in there, and then either we forgot about it. I don't think we forgot about it, but either we forgot or somebody said, "Yeah, let's just leave it in there. That's funny. Keep it in there."
Yeah, I'm glad you did. All right, so question number 7. I needed to put these in numbers and not asterisks because now I have to read down the list. There we go.
You got to remember where we're at.
Oh yeah, this is expanding on the uh-oh sound. It says I remember there being a distinct high-pitched uh-oh sound, like uh-oh. I played one time when I clicked on the boy in the same area. What does the uh-oh sound mean? It's called pending in the game files.
So that came from, what was the name of that program? It was a very early on chat program. It's newer than ICQ, but older than like Yahoo Instant Messenger. Okay. There was one right in between there, and I can't remember the name of it. And that was the sound that came up when you got an incoming chat. That was the audio notification. And we used that as a placeholder audio for anything in the game that required audio. So, like, if there was a spell that required audio, we would use that audio file and give it the proper name of the spell, whatever the naming convention was for the spell or dialogue or whatever.
So,
and its purpose was to let the developers and testers know, hey, this audio is not in yet. We need to replace this audio file with the proper audio file.
Oh yeah.
And some of them we forgot. So you can blame us as testers for that showing up in any part of the game.
I bet that was fun in the beginning when you were first working with audio. Footsteps, casting a spell.
I think we got that cleaned up pretty quick.
Because it got annoying, didn't it?
Like everything here is uh-ohs, which happened a few times.
Set that as your alarm clock. 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom, that'll get you up. Okay, next question. I think it's number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to put my cursor on the thing so I keep track of where it is.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Who the hell is Q? Why does he exist? And what sadistic mind gave him 15,000 hit points?
Well, I think we all know who Q is, right? I mean, we've all seen Star Trek.
I haven't, so this is news to me.
So, for anybody who has never seen Star Trek The Next Generation, which there's probably about 3, Q was an omnipotent character who was just a big pain in the ass. So he had all this power, and to amuse himself, because he was sort of a god, to amuse himself, he would appear on the bridge of the Enterprise and just mess with everybody, and everybody hated him. And so, to annoy you guys, we put him in the game.
Yep.
And
you gave him Finger of Death.
Yeah, exactly. And because he's supposed to be a demigod, he got a lot of hit points.
But I found a way around that. There's this thing called corners. Got him! I'm kidding. I like that you put the Horn of Ross in there, because that was a really handy thing.
I don't even remember that.
The Horn of Ross?
Yeah.
Apparently it was some dragon that was killed during the Night of Shooting Stars.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's literally what it says in the description. But what it does, it tells you the exact number of hit points any creature you click on has.
Yeah. That
This
is
is
pretty handy.
before the days of Identify Monster.
Yeah. Oh, Identify Monster wasn't in Might Magic 6?
No, it wasn't.
Huh.
Nor was Grandmastery of any skill. It was just Master.
Right, I do remember that.
I kind of like it that way, to be honest, because I hate the skill limitations from the different classes. Like, oh my goodness. I'm going to take a moment here. I'm going to tell you a little bug I found in the game that they later patched up. I remember the days where you could have sorcerers that dual-wielded swords. And the reason for that was there was a glitch that happened when you entered a place where you learn skills. After you learn all the ones you can, if you keep clicking on the little dialogue thing, and it usually goes, eventually it will go, and you learn a random skill that you wouldn't have otherwise had access to. So I just abused that, and I learned, let's see, my sorcerer will learn sword, spear, plate armor.
Oh, see,
Screw you, knight!
How did we not find that? Obviously somebody...
So I think the fans might have, because it was a patch that came out after the developers had finished with the game.
Well, we always patch stuff, and that's...
Yeah.
That,
I think Greyface may have been the one to patch that.
well, that was like not even a developer patch?
I don't think so, no, because it was much later. Because I remember playing Might and Magic 6, and I had like the latest version from the developers, but the glitch was still there, so fans sometimes make updates and fix a lot of bugs. And that was probably one of the bugs that they fixed.
Yeah, I don't remember ever doing that, but it makes sense. We're supposed to, as testers, 'cause, I did do testing on Might and Magic 6 as well as level design. We're supposed to do stuff like that, like just figure out ways to break things to stop it. But things slip through, things slip by, and it could also have been one of those bugs where we decided the risk to fix it is too great right now, so we're going to defer that bug and ship with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right, exactly. If it's not a crash bug, then fine. Let it go. Although that's still a pretty big bug to...
It's a big exploit, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But it was fun to use at the time. Just having sorcerers like wearing armors, like plate armor, and deal with wielding swords. You don't need knights. Just have a sorcerer who knows how to use everything. Okay. Next question. I think this is 9. Okay.
That's not quite right.
There are a couple of peasant variations. One resembling a baker with a rolling pin, the other looking like a fat merchant, aka Q. The only time you ever see these particular peasants is in the arena with an extremely low-level party. Why can they not be found elsewhere?
Well, okay, so all of the NPCs that were placed in the world were placed by hand. So we literally, in the editor, clicked on this NPC and dragged it into the level, or however we did it then. I don't remember how the mechanics of the editor worked, but we put it in the level by hand. In the arena, enemies were randomly generated from a pool of all the enemies in the game, based on the player's.
Okay.
So even though we didn't hand place it into the game, they still exist in the DAT file or whatever data file.
Yeah.
So the randomizer from the dungeon or from the arena says, "Oh, well, that's a valid enemy. Let's grab it and throw it in."
So basically, I still find it curious because like there were these other NPCs that could have been hand placed in the game, but apparently there was only two variations, the man and the woman. But there were these other ones that never got used.
We probably just forgot about them.
You probably did because I've not.
That's probably what happened. We probably forgot. Like, oh, we could place that guy too. All right. I think we probably just forgot.
I actually found another glitch in the game involving the arena. If you go in and your level is high enough, because the game can't pick an enemy that has a high level as high as yours, it will crash the game.
Interesting.
Yeah, it won't pick like gold dragons or supreme titans. If your level is high enough, like I got to level 200 once, and I found that every time I go into the arena, even on page, it would crash the game because it could not find any enemies that had that kind of level. I remember my knights having 3,000 hit points.
Yeah, that's definitely a bug, and I blame the programmers.
Hey,
for not finding that error.
You could always go back and fix it if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know where it is, but it's in there somewhere.
Excuse me. Alright, next question. Why is the Reanimate spell absolutely useless?
Okay, so the Reanimate spell, that's the one that resurrects you from being dead, right?
No, that's Raise Dead. Reanimate lets you raise other creatures from the dead.
Oh, right. To fight on your side against enemies, right?
I'm guessing that the reason why it didn't work was because the game didn't have a system for dealing with allies versus foes or to pin enemies against each other.
That is exactly the case. Monster versus monster combat didn't appear until Might and Magic 7.
Yeah.
It appeared pretty early on in Might and Magic 7. I remember a couple guys being very excited to see that working.
Yes.
So that's probably the reason we didn't have.
You didn't have a hostility table. Hostile.txt.
Exactly. The other reason could be that when you start doing stuff like that, it can make it very difficult to balance the game.
True, because if you have Reanimate spell, plus in my Magic 6, any characters that can learn light or dark can learn both. And because there's no skill limitations on, like in Might and Magic 7 and 8, there were certain classes that could only learn up to certain levels. Because that restriction wasn't there in Might and Magic 6, you could have like an entire party of people just raising a bunch of dead and then just dominating the map.
Right.
And one thing I actually find rather curious, I wonder if it's possible to take the mechanics of the hostile.txt and kind of retrofit it inside of Might and Magic 6, because same engine, similar mechanics. I wonder if it can be done. That'd be really cool if it did, because...
Wait, say that again?
Basically, retrofitting the mechanics from Might and Magic 7's, like, enemies going against each other, Reanimate Dead, and fitting that into Might and Magic 6, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same game engine.
Greyface, if you're listening, I want this done tonight. I want it done yesterday.
I think a more valuable time would be spent doing like a remastered version of Might and Magic 6.
They'll never be the same again. Interestingly enough, this year is the 20th anniversary of Might and Magic 6, but it's also the 20th anniversary of Thief.
God,
And
did it come out the same year?
yeah, they did. And in fact, there's a contest going on a site called TTLG. It's where all the Thief fans gather. And they're making fan levels based on the look and feel of the original Thief levels in celebration of the 20 years it's
Nice.
been active.
That's
And
pretty.
Thief has a very prolific and very matured fan base because they've had time to hone their skills.
Uh-huh.
So they're very disciplined creators.
Yeah, that'd be cool, actually, if somebody did that with, like, using the Skyrim engine to make a Might and Magic game.
You'd be surprised at how many times people have made Might and Magic stuff into other games. I think I saw one on Minecraft.
What?
Yeah, I kid you not. It's either artwork or a
like that.
mod or something visual that took Might and Magic 6 and made it. I think someone was trying to rebuild Castle Iron Fist inside of Minecraft.
Oh man, Ken would love that.
If I grab the video, I can send it to you and you can show him.
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Oh yes, and in other games too. There was Die by the Sword, and someone made a mod where it actually put you in kind of Castle Iron Fist territory, and some of the enemies there were like peasants with the skins from the peasants in Might and Magic 6.
That's great.
It has more influence than you think. Okay, next question. In the secret New World Computing Dungeon, a couple of the NPCs with developer names just so happened to be goblins. One of them was John Van Canegum, and another was Trip Hawkins. Why were they put as goblins instead of normal peasants?
Well, that seems self-explanatory, doesn't it? They were the bosses.
So they were... Makes sense.
That I don't remember. I don't remember if that was my idea or it might have been Brian Farina's. That sounds like his kind of humor too. But it was just because they were the bosses.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they did things you didn't agree with.
Well, I mean, all bosses are like that, right?
Yeah. When they have to lay down the law, sometimes it lands on someone's head.
Yep.
Okay. Next question. I don't know how much you know about Might and Magic 6's glitches and bugs, but there's one in particular that stands out like a sore thumb. In certain areas, if you turn a certain way, there's a streak, a line that appears for seemingly no reason, kind of diagonalish. And if you hover the cursor over the line, sometimes it shows up as null. What could that mean? I'm scared to click on it because it has crashed my game before.
Yeah, I don't remember us running into this one, but it's probably a scene, and what I mean is, when a game engine is building a world, it does so using components. Usually, it's facets or polygons or whatever, and at the junction of those, there's a seam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, got stuff in my hands. There's a seam, like right here.
Yeah.
And when the game camera comes across that seam, and you can still see this in modern game engines today, sometimes it doesn't know how to handle it. And if you hit it at the right angle, you can see that seam.
Yeah, usually it comes on when I cast a spell and it has a trail.
Yeah. Yeah, and so what will happen is in the Might and Magic engine, whenever you could see through the world in any fashion, see like through the outside wall of the dungeon or through the ground, you got what we call the Hall of Mirrors effect. Most of the time in modern engine, it'll just be black.
Yeah.
in Might and Magic, it'll show what that screen had been showing before.
Oh, okay.
And so that's probably the strange artifacts that you see. And then when you click on it and it pops up the null sign, that just means like you're trying to get info on something that doesn't exist.
And so it crashes the game.
And so it crashes the game.
Okay. Oh, hang on. There we go. Next question. Why is there a chest disguised as a rock behind the Oh, you already know this, don't you? Behind the Elemental Guild in New Sorpigal.
It's just a little Easter egg. It's
just a simple Easter egg.
Just a simple Easter egg. It's right along the lines of the Super Goober. In this case, it's some extra stuff to help the lower level players.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, I found the Master Cutlass in there one time.
Yeah, exactly.
I found the best cutlass in the game at level 1.
That's lucky.
Oh, yes.
I don't remember what we put as the settings for that chest, but...
it must have been fairly high.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't have been, like, everything in the game.
Yeah. It's the one rock that blows up in your face.
Oh, because it's trapped.
Yeah, it is.
It's a really high-level trap.
It's not a high-level trap. It's actually a very low-level one. I could disarm it with just, like, 1 or 2 points of skill.
But when you're low level, it's...
Yeah. Hey, listen, buddy. I managed to get dagger expertise before I even fought a single enemy.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
I found a way. Okay,
it's like
next.
one of those speed gamers.
Well, it's not speed so much as I know if you... It's called playing it for 20 years.
Yeah, you probably know more about it than I do.
Okay, next question. According to RPGenie, there's a theory that anything in the game with a capital letter can be interacted with. Is this true?
No, I don't think so. We never, whenever we were creating stuff like that, there was no like guidelines or anything that said, okay, if you're creating something that's interactable, start it with a capital letter.
Maybe you did it by accident, as if you separated into lists, and the ones that were interactable were put in a separate list, and those had capital letters.
It's possible. It's probably more along the lines of whoever was creating that list saw it as a proper noun, so they automatically capitalized it.
Okay.
Or it would be like the first character of a sentence or something, and Word, or probably more likely Excel, just automatically capitalized it.
Sounds plausible. Yeah, RPGenie was the very first person I started watching on YouTube. He played all the Might and Magic games. He has nearly 2,000 videos just on Might and Magic.
Wow.
He is the... he doesn't do video games anymore, but like when he did, he used to... It took him... Okay, just put this in perspective of how big Might and Magic 6 is. His average video is about 10 minutes long. Care to take a wild guess at how many videos it took him to complete the game from start to finish?
10 minutes. I'd say probably 200.
365.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember how long it took us to finish the game. So when we were playing it end to end. I think we could get it done in about a week. A week's worth of...
Yeah. Okay. We are now coming on to a new category in the questions.
Uh-huh.
If you want to take a break, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do it
Okay.
fast.
I will go ahead and stop the recording, and I'll resume it when we come back.
Okay.